I wrote a graphic novel called Red as Blue. It's a hybrid format that I invented where I combined film elements, screenplay, prose, illustrations, traditional novel writing, and I kind of just put it all together in one book. A reading experience that moves more like a film than a comic book or reading just a big novel. Red is Blue is about a Mexican-Armenian girl named June Lusparian who's struggling to fit in with society during the 1980s when being gay or gender fluid was very difficult. She is an aspiring musician and she's struggling to figure out where she belongs in the world in terms of her talents and abilities. The fact that she's Mexican-Armenian and she doesn't fit into the Chicano culture. June Lusparian is, this girl that's living in a really what I consider to be a dark, dark time in American history in the 1980s. Because even though the 80s was great for a lot of people, if you were running with the cool crowd and driving, a sports car and were blonde and listening to Bon Jovi, all that great rock and roll stuff, if you were not part of that scene and if you were different in any way, you basically didn't belong. And that was June's world. And so I think my story is pretty close to like a LGBTQ version of Romeo and Juliet meets Lord of the Flies. And the Lord of the Flies part comes in because you see a lot of power struggles going on in the story. These power struggles in the story comes from the fact that Red is Blue has historical fiction in it. It's my way of sort of explaining how something like the Columbine shooting and the epidemic of high school shootings can happen. And so from my point of view, it had a lot to do with the kids in the story not having much leadership. Truthfully, that's what June is looking for in her life, some form of leadership and someone to help her, guide her through this coming of age process of becoming a woman.